Y News with William Theo, Angelo Castro III, and Darlene Basingan.
Evening. President Rodrigo Duterte warns anew several government and police officials will be dismissed from service in the coming days. Here's why from Rosa Dicos.
In what he describes as a purge regime, President Rodrigo Duterte is preparing to axe up to 70 active police, 3 generals, and 1 government official in the coming days. This was announced by the chief executive himself last night during a PAGCOR event in Manila.
I am in the thick of firing people. Intend to fire another maybe 70 or 49 policemen and 3 generals for corruption. Yan ang, in the next few days, this is really a purging regime.
Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque said he was not given permission to disclose who are the persons the president is referring to and what are the particular reasons of their dismissal. The president said he really spends time cleaning the government of corruption, and he will do this until he steps down from his post.
I think that I'll be spending a lot of time just to clean up government, and will consume for 4 years for the time that I will be there.
Meanwhile, Malacanang said it is possible for President Duterte to hold office in Mindanao for a longer time than in Manila in the coming days. This was revealed by Secretary Roque because lately, the president holds his engagements more often in Davao City, and he even welcomes foreign dignitaries in the Malacanang of the South, the Panacanyang.
It appears that the president is intent on spending more time in Mindanao governing rather than in Malacanang.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte has accepted the resignation of Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office or PCSO Chairman Jose George Corpus. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque made the announcement through a statement citing health reasons for the resignation of Corpus. Roque adds that Corpus is not the government official that President Duterte said he was going to fire because of corruption. Recently, Corpus and PCSO General Manager Alexander Balutan have become controversial after PCSO board member Sandra Cam questioned their extravagant PCSO December party, which allegedly cost millions of pesos. The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, formally launches the implementation of the 10-year validity of the Philippine passports. In line with this, DFA Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano calls on the public to report to them if they fall prey to syndicates of online passport appointment. Here's why from Nel Maribo.
The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, begins this January the implementation of the 10-year passport validity. One of those who secured the new passport is Angelo Piñol, who frequently travels abroad.
For us millennials na mahilig mag-travel, mas na po kami. Hanggang sa pagtanda namin, pangitrabaho kami. Hindi na po kami mag-renew.
The DFA formally launched the said project. According to DFA Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano, they are now searching for ways on how to make easier the renewal of passports.
May pinakita na sa akin ngayon, ang cellphone nyo, kukunan lang ng picture yung inyong passport, may iska-scan lang, then magsa-selfie kayo, they will compare the face, and then e-payment, and then i-mail na lang namin sa inyo yung passport.
It can be noted that DFA had already implemented some ways on making easier the process of applying for passport. One example is their stricter implementation of the courtesy lane. On Monday, the agency will launch what it calls the Passporting on Wheels. It will make rounds on various areas in the country and can produce up to 500 passports a day. To avoid the taking of unfair advantage of the passport appointment system, the DFA has already cancelled 50,000 bogus appointments last year. DFA also withdrew 1,200 slots reserved for travel agencies.
5 months na pong walang allotment ang agency.
The DFA has no formal investigation yet in connection with the alleged syndicate behind the online passport appointments, as it has not received any complaints yet. But the Foreign Affairs Department already brought up the issue to the National Bureau of Investigation.
we're in touch with NBI about this, no? So, kung tatanungin mo ako, gusto ko talaga may masampulan.
The Department of Foreign Affairs invites those who fell victims to the alleged exploitation or passport appointment scam to their office for assistance. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The Overseas Workers Welfare Administration confirms that the bank intended for overseas Filipino workers will open this year. Here's why from Ray Pelayo.
The Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWWA is now finalizing the mechanism for the creation of the Overseas Filipino Bank. The OF Bank is in accordance with the executive order signed by President Rodrigo Duterte in September 28, 2017. It is expected to serve the Filipinos abroad this first quarter of 2018. In the program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon, OWWA Administrator Hans Leo Kakdak says the bank will benefit all overseas-based Filipinos.
It's clear now that there are plans to develop a third loan window that will be more client-friendly, collateral-free, low interest rate.
Aside from the bank, OWWA offers non-cash benefits to help OFWs even if they decided to stay in the Philippines for good. OWWA also has a reintegration program which allows returning overseas Filipino workers the opportunity to loan an amount of up to 2 million pesos. Administrator Kakdak adds that also in the first quarter of the year, the agency will offer a refund or rebate program for OFWs who worked for 10 years or more abroad. An OFW has $25 annual contribution to OWWA. The official says the announcement of the amount of refund will also be in the first quarter of 2018.
Hindi pa tayo sure kung yung eksaktong refund o mas malaki pa.
OWWA is also part of the rehabilitation project in Marawi City. The agency has released the initial 5,000 pesos financial assistance to inactive OWWA members in Marawi and 10,000 pesos to active members. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The management of the Clark International Airport vows to further improve its services and implement tighter security measures after an incident of luggage theft in the airport. Here's why from Marge Pelayo.
A post from an overseas Filipino worker complaining about his lost items at the Clark International Airport recently went viral on social media. The vacationing OFW arrived in the country from Canada last December. He was able to claim his baggage just yesterday. However, he was shocked upon seeing his bag were already opened and his expensive items were no longer inside.
Nakita namin wasak yung mga zipper. So wasak lahat. Wasak. And then yung box namin bukas na nung dumating kami.
The management of the Clark International Airport confirms the incident and is now conducting an investigation.
Hindi naman tayo nagpabaya. Immediately, nung malaman natin yan, nag-conduct tayo ng pagkikipag-usap sa ground handling company para makita natin ng kabuuan.
Authorities discovered that the items were lost in the office of Miascor as CCTV footages show that his bag were intact when it arrived. Miascor is the ground handling company of the airlines of the said airport. 6 Miascor employees allegedly involved in the incident are now placed under preventive suspension.
Identified na yung mga suspects na, sad to say, mga empleyado ng ground handling company.
The official also vows to further intensify the security and to improve their services to the passengers of the Clark International Airport. Miascor and Clark Airport immediately paid the total amount of the missing items of the complaining OFW, which reached 82,000 pesos. Marge Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
A cybersecurity expert warns the public to take extra caution as the number of bank fraud cases in the country continues to rise. Here's why from Monokson.
Online seller John Michael was downhearted due to the huge amount of money he lost. John Michael lost almost 30,000 pesos in his savings account in a bank.
Paano yung nangyari yung account ko na hack? Merong unauthorized withdrawal, nasa akin yung passbook, nasa akin yung ATM.
He reported the incident to the bank but to no avail.
Very disappointed talaga ako dahil wala silang effort na ganito sir. Parang pag-approach ko sa kanila para lang akong parang baliwala lang. Sir, under investigation pa. Ganun lagi ang sinasabi sa akin.
According to Engineer Pierre Tito Galia, a cybersecurity expert, John Michael might have been a victim of ATM skimming. Galia notes the public should take extra caution as bank accounts can now be hacked.
It's well known na ang cybersecurity sa Pilipinas weak. And that includes critical infrastructure like financial organizations like banks.
Galia advises online sellers like John Michael to create 2 accounts. One is for their personal savings and the other a non-ATM account for the payments of their customers. The cybersecurity experts also calls on the public to not withdraw money in ATM without security guards and to properly check first if there is anything unusual with the ATM slot.
Pag prinotektahan na natin ang sarili natin sa lahat ng aspeto na pwede, ang responsibilidad ng bangko, pag may nagkaroon ng fraud, pag inatake yung mga account natin, magbayad sila. Palitan dapat nila yung perang nakuha sa atin. Nasa batas naman siya.
It can be noted, BDO Unibank recently posted on social media that many of their clients are experiencing unauthorized withdrawals. In response, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas or BSP says it already ordered all banks to shift to using ATM cards with EMV chips. The banks are given until June of this year to comply with BSP's order. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
The Bureau of Internal Revenue announces 2 good news under the new taxation law of the Duterte administration. Mai Bermudez will tell us why.
In the second public consultation of the Bureau of Internal Revenue in relation to the new tax system under train law, new exemptions on value-added tax were discussed. Included in those which will be VAT exempted is the rent in residential spaces.
Kung ang bawat rental sa bawat pinto, basta residential, is less than 15,000 and below, exempt po yan sa VAT. Pero kung commercial yung area, kahit paano yung amount ng rental, vatable po yun.
Even if Subdivision and Housing Developers Association or SHEDA seemed happy about this news, they still have questions for BIR.
There are some issues that we need to address, but I cannot really articulate all of those issues right now. That's why we need to sit down with the commissioner.
Meantime, starting January 2019, all maintenance medicines for diabetes and hypertension will also be VAT exempted.
Kasi sa ngayon po, ang medicines po ng ating senior citizen, hindi po ba nasa 20% discount and no VAT. So hindi lang ho senior citizen, lahat po ng gagamit kahit hindi pa senior citizen at kailangan niya ang gamot para sa diabetes, high cholesterol and hypertension, it will not have any VAT component.
Mai Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Energy will begin the issuance of show-cause orders to gasoline stations following their imposition of an increase in the prices of their fuel products. Mon Hocson will tell us why.
The Department of Energy or DOE saw inconsistencies in the report submitted by several gasoline stations regarding their fuel stocks. This is in line with the imposition of a fuel price hike of some oil companies, although the DOE has set the date for the said increase on the 15th of this month. Because of this, the DOE will issue a show-cause orders to gasoline stations that submitted reports about their inventories that contain inconsistencies. Based on the order of the agency, a gasoline station can only implement a price hike when it already used up its old stocks.
Based on the inventory na tinitingnan ng ating mga inspectors, we have to make sure na talaga naubos na yung old stocks and what they are selling are new stocks.
The gasoline stations may face complaints of profiteering. Their certificate of compliance might also be revoked, and their gasoline stations might be closed down. The DOE will also submit a report to the Bureau of Internal Revenue or BIR to have a certain gasoline station undergo an audit.
For the violators, pagka nakita nating may violation, we will do some actions. No?
Around 199 of the more than 2,000 gasoline stations in Metro Manila have increased the prices of their fuel products. In line with this, the DOE continues to conduct inspections to ensure that oil firms follow their agreement with the government. On Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
Let's take a look at the traffic situation now along some major roads in Metro Manila. On EDSA Muñoz, there is light flow of vehicles on the lane going to Balintawak, while motorists are experiencing light to moderate flow of vehicles on the lane going to North Avenue. On 5th Avenue in C3 Caloocan City, the traffic is green and go on the lane going to A. Bonifacio. While on the lane going to A. Mabini, vehicles are fast moving. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board plans to issue special permits to city bus operators. Here's why from Joa Nano.
The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB summons operators of city buses to discuss with them its plan to issue special permits in line with the ongoing apprehension against old and dilapidated public utility jeepney units. LTFRB board member Attorney Eileen Lizada explains that with a said plan, the agency is seeking to use other buses as alternative transportation of passengers who might experience difficulty in commuting following the new regulation. The agency plans to issue special permits to city buses within 3 months while jeepney operators are addressing problem on their units.
Yun ang proposal namin sa city bus operators para in the meantime kung ano yung mga affected stranded passengers or routes, doon natin papaikutin yung mga bus na yon.
Earlier this morning, the Interagency Council for Traffic or IAC conducted another operation along Quezon Avenue and other areas in Metro Manila. During the said operation, IAC personnel apprehended several dilapidated and smoke-belching jeepney units. Aside from jeepneys, authorities also apprehended a taxi cab with expired permits, UV Express vans, and drivers with expired license. Some passengers experienced inconvenience earlier when IAC traffic law enforcers told them to descend.
Like us, parang kailangan namin magmadali. Super distracted talaga.
Kung sa oras, nag-aabol po kami ng oras tapos pinababa.
The Transportation Department reiterates their campaign aims not to burden PUV drivers and operators. Instead, it is to emphasize on the primary concern, which is the safety of the passengers.
Hindi lang ho porke umaandar yung sasakyan mo, pwede na. Kailangan i-garantiya mo lalo na sa yung mga pasahero yung kaligtasan nila.
Since Monday, IAC had already apprehended around 800 vehicles. 85% of the apprehended vehicles are passenger vehicles. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Next on Y News. A former cabinet official questions in the Supreme Court the legality of the martial law extension in Mindanao. The Department of the Interior and Local Government sets to launch a nationwide information drive on the Duterte administration's federalism. And drug authorities warn against the re-emerging proliferation of liquid drugs in bars and social events. Y News will be right back. Former government officials under the Aquino administration filed today a petition before the Supreme Court to question the legality of the martial law extension in Mindanao. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Former Commission on Human Rights Chairperson Loretta Ann Rosales and former Solicitor General Attorney Florin Hilbay went to the Supreme Court today to file a petition that questions the extension of the military rule in Mindanao. They argue that the legality of the extension of martial law is questionable since it has no strong basis. The petition states the enforcement of warrantless arrests or enforcement of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in Mindanao is illegal since it does not conform with the 1987 Constitution.
He has the powers to declare martial law, but on grounds that there has to be
actual invasion and rebellion.
The former CHR chair explains more than 60% of the people she talked to in Mindanao are not in favor of military rule. According to Attorney Hilbay, their petition seeks to have the High Tribunal clearly explain the definition of martial law and the extent of the powers of the president in terms of enforcing it. The former Solicitor General also questions the motive of President Rodrigo Duterte in extending the military rule, further noting that he might use his authority to declare a nationwide martial law. Rosales and Hilbay are hoping that their petition will be consolidated with similar petitions filed by Albay Representative Ed Selagman and several other lawmakers in Congress. It can be noted the Supreme Court has set the oral arguments for the consolidated petition on the 16th and 17th of this month.
The fundamental question in Lagman versus Medialdea and in this case is, what are we talking about when we say we're extending martial law, we're giving the president the power to impose martial law in Mindanao for 1 year?
On the other hand, Malacanang has once again insisted the extension of the declaration of martial law in Mindanao is in accordance with the Constitution.
The extension for a year enjoys overwhelming presumption of constitutionality, given that both the executive and the legislative branches of government have found both legal and factual basis for the declaration of martial law.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Representative Arlene Bagao and 3 others filed a petition against the martial law extension minutes before the Supreme Court closed today. As with the earlier petitions, the group questioned the government's basis for its move to extend martial law in Mindanao. This is the 4th petition that the Supreme Court received against the martial law extension in the region. The Department of the Interior and local government is confident that the masses will accept the Duterte administration's federal form of government. Here's why from Rajel Adora.
Representatives of the Department of the Interior and local governments are set to conduct information campaign across the country to educate the public on the benefits of federalism. DILG Assistant Secretary and Federalism Campaign Chief Jonathan Malaya is confident that the general public will welcome the Duterte administration's federal form of government.
Paliwanag mo na lang sa kanila is yung mas malaking pondong pupunta sa kanilang LGU, yung serbisyong mas maganda.
Aside from its benefits, DILG also has other ways to make the concept easily understandable to the masses.
Assistant Secretary Jonathan Malaya believes services will be faster and the government will be closer to the masses once federalism becomes in effect.
Also, Malaya said the local government will have a huge role to help in the realization of the campaign. The Duterte administration targets to implement federalism before President Duterte ends his term in 2022. Roger Aladora, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, 3 more Supreme Court magistrates confirmed their attendance on Monday in the next hearing on the impeachment complaint filed against Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. Here's why from Grace Casi.
Supreme Court Associate Justices Lucas Bersamin, Diosdado Peralta, and Samuel Martires will face the House of Representatives Impeachment Committee on Monday. Justice Bersamin will testify about the internal rules and procedures of the Supreme Court. Justice Peralta is set to testify regarding the alleged manipulation in the Judicial Bar Council or JBC. Meanwhile, Justice Martires will reveal what he knows about Sereno's alleged delay on the release of benefits to retired court judge and magistrates. Umali notes the testimonies of the 3 will hugely help in the proceedings on the complaint against the Chief Justice.
This will somehow substantiate yung mga aspect of transgression of the collegial nature of the Supreme Court.
CJ Sereno spokesperson Attorney Jojo Lacanilao previously said that the impeachment court's invitation to SC justices was part of the propaganda to create an impression that the colleagues of the country's top magistrate do not support her. Impeachment committee targets to vote on impeachment complaint in March. Should it pass the lower house, it would proceed to deliberations in Senate, preferably in June of this year. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Sandigan Bayan postpones the arraignment of former President Benigno Aquino III and former Vice President Jejomar Binay. The two former high-ranking officials are facing different charges before the anti-graft court. Here's why from Ray Pelayo.
Sandigan Bayan postponed the arraignment of the two former highest officials of the government. The graft court deferred the proceedings against former President Benigno Aquino III over the charges of allegedly violating the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and usurpation of official functions. The charges stem from the botched operation of the Philippine National Police Special Action Force or PNP SAF in Mamasapano in 2015. According to the lawyer of Aquino, they have a pending motion to quash. That's why the arraignment is cancelled and rescheduled on the 15th of February.
Kahit ma-prove lahat ng mga allegations sa information, it will not be sufficient to convict.
It can be recalled the said operation that targeted terrorist and bomb maker Zulkifli Abdir, Elias Marwan, and Basit Osman left 44 PNP SAP members dead. Former President Nonoy Aquino was acquitted by the Office of the Ombudsman from the homicide case. However, the agency says he remains liable in the death of the 44 PNP staff members. Based on the information of the case, Aquino let himself be influenced by then-suspended PNP Chief Alan Purisima in deciding on Oplan Exodus. The Ombudsman says Aquino violated the PNP chain of command, suspension order of the Ombudsman against Purisima, and the order of then PNP officer in charge, Chief Leonardo Espina. The former president posted a bail of 40,000 pesos for his temporary liberty. Meanwhile, Malacanang has expressed optimism in Aquino's effort to follow the rule of law in the Mamasapano case.
On President Aquino, well, we're happy that he is complying and observing the rule of law. He has entered a plea, and we expect the case to be prosecuted at the soonest time possible.
Meanwhile, the arraignment of former Vice President Jejomar Binay was postponed as well due to his pending motion. Binay is facing corruption charges which stemmed from the alleged anomalous construction of the Makati City parking building. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
In other news, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and the Dangerous Drugs Board warn against the re-emerging proliferation of liquid drugs in bars and social events. Here's why from Grace Casin.
The girl in the video was said to be a victim of liquid drug overdose. The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA got the video from the cell phone of the ecstasy supplier that they arrested in Muntinlupa City yesterday. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino says the girl drank different kinds of liquid drugs. PDEA seized 600,000 pesos worth of liquid and tablet ecstasy and cocaine from suspects Lester Almalbes, 35, and Gerald Peñaflor, 24. Authorities say the suspects sell these kinds of drugs in high-end bars and in social media and send them using Transport Network Vehicle Service or TNVS. PDEA is now looking for the girl in the video.
Nag-take in siya ng 2 ml ng liquid ecstasy. And then, nag-seizure siya for 20 to 30 minutes. And after that, memory lapse. Memory gap. Nakalimutan niya na lahat kung ano nangyari.
Dangerous Drugs Board or DDB Chairman Catalino Cuy warns the public against these kinds of drugs, especially the youth that usually go to gatherings and parties.
Huwag kang uminom ng drinks na bukas na o yung mga glass na iaabot sa'yo, lalo na kung hindi mo kakilala yung mag-aabot sa'yo.
Meanwhile, PDEA is now coordinating with the Bureau of Corrections because of the information they received that most of the drugs they confiscated came from the New Bilibid prison. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine National Police sets to reactivate its Oplan Tokhang this month. However, PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa vows that they will be more careful this time. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
Siniguro namin at patuloy na sisiguruhin na yung totoong tukhang ang gagawin.
PNP Chief Police Director General Ronald Bato de la Rosa has ordered his ground commanders to resume this month the police anti-drug operation or Oplan Tokhang. General Bato advised them to be more careful and assure bloodless operations this time around. The PNP chief added that there is no room for irregularities this time, especially among Police Officer 1 or PO1 who have just been given a 100% salary increase. He expects that these policemen will render good service.
Dagdoble ang sweldo, mas lalong walang rason na gumawa ng kalokohan natin kapulisan.
Aside from increase in salary, Bato added that they also receive allowances and logistical support from local government units. He mentioned on the Valenzuela LGU that donated 60 new mobile patrol units and canines that they can utilize in police operations. Bato further warned dismissal against cops who will get involved in illegal activities.
Promise ko yan sa inyo. I-dismiss ko kagad yung mga pulis na talo na yung PO1 na times 2 na talaga sweldo nila.
Meanwhile, the Commission on Human Rights has expressed concern as the PNP resumes its Oplan-Tukhang operations.
Well, we're very concerned that the government, through the Philippine National Police, will be launching back Oplan-Tukhang. While we did say that they have the option really of putting back the PNP as a support to the PDEA in this campaign against drugs, sabi namin sana they will follow the lead of the PDEA that will focus more on apprehensions rather than alleged cases of EJKs.
Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue Camp Crame.
The Department of Energy is set to distribute 200 electric tricycles or e-trikes in Marawi City. Here's why from Monokson.
The Task Force Bangon Marawi and the Department of Energy or DOE signed an agreement today for the distribution of 200 electric tricycles or e-trikes in Marawi City. DOE wants to distribute the 200 e-trikes in the city at the soonest possible time. The government's latest effort is expected to help improve the lives of the residents of the war-torn area. E-trikes can carry up to 5 passengers and can run at a speed of 40 kilometers per hour and as far as 60 kilometers at one single charge. An e-trike has a 5-year warranty period and a 3-year service warranty. The government is also set to install charging points in Marawi City for the electric tricycles.
This, I think, is a very tangible start for the government to show to the Marawi residents that we are really committed and sincere.
According to Marawi City Mayor Majul Gandamra, some transport service in Marawi are taking unfair advantage of the situation in the area by imposing higher fares. With the e-trikes, Gandamra says the local government can properly regulate the fares that would hugely benefit the city's residents.
So ang ginawa ko natin, initially, nagbigay ko tayo ng libreng sakay. But with this, ito pong mga e-trikes na binigay ng ating gobyerno sa Marawi City ay magiging sustainable po ang ating pag-regulate sa mga yung sa fare. So mabibigyan din natin ng ating mga babayan ng pwedeng discount.
The local government is in charge of determining who should receive the e-trikes. Meanwhile, the DOE also plans to distribute e-trikes to selected areas across the country in June. The DOE purchased almost 3,000 e-trikes from Japan. The e-trikes were assembled here in the Philippines and are set to be distributed to deserving recipients. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Taguig City.
The Duterte administration does not feel complacent with the result of the latest SWS survey that gives President Duterte an excellent trust rating. Here's why from Rosa Licos.
President Rodrigo Duterte regains excellent trust rating of the public based on the Social Weather Stations or SWS survey taken during the last quarter of 2017. From 60% very high trust rating in September 2017, it increased to excellent at 75%, which is the same as the result in June 2017. The chief executive's trust ratings have been consistently excellent since he assumed office, except for the results in September 2017, which is very high. The president got the highest scores in Mindanao, Visayas, and Metro Manila, while very good in Luzon. Despite the good news of getting an excellent trust rating for the chief executive, the Duterte administration is still not satisfied. Presidential spokesperson Secretary Harry Roque says the government will continue to improve its work to make the lives of the Filipinos better.
We leave no room for complacency. No? We therefore assure that everyone that the Chief Executive, together with his team, would remain undistracted in improving the lives of the poor and marginalized, fighting criminality and enforcing the law, and curbing graft and corruption in government.
The government also attributes the excellent trust rating of the public to President Duterte on the realization of his campaign promises. Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Coming up on Y News. One of the world's largest producers of dairy products to face sanctions over lapses in the recall of salmonella-contaminated baby food. Japan starts culling of over 90,000 chickens after confirming an outbreak of bird flu. And UNTV's reality diving show, The Dive, goes to Hong Kong to excite viewers about its massive marine mammal park, the Ocean Park. More from Y News after this break.
Few days to go and we'll witness the third Wish Music Awards. More than a celebration of Filipino musicality, the project boasts of its noble advocacy. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
Apart from aiming to give the wishers the coolest musical experience, Wish 1075 wants to help those in need in its own simple ways. Among these is through the Wish Music Awards.
Welcome to the second Wish 1075 Music Awards!
Awards Night plus Charity. This is Wish Music Awards. It was in 2016 when Wish Music Awards started to recognize OPM stars who shone brightest during the year. Aside from the winning artists, this charitable event brings smiles to people in need.
Yung lahat ng mga artists natin na mananalo po dito, we are giving them the free hand to choose kung sino po ang charitable institution na pipiliin po nila. Kung sila po yung nanalo, bukod dun sa pong premyo po nila na makukuha, meron po kaming inaalat na mas malaki dun sa napili po nilang charity.
In 2 years, Wish Music Awards has already given 2.75 million pesos to its winners and their beneficiaries. Last year, Morissette, dubbed as the next big diva, emerged as the biggest winner with 6 major awards.
We present to you our Wish-exclusive viral video of the year.
Morissette's cover of Secret Love Song went viral and received positive feedbacks from music fans in different parts of the globe. Her Wish-exclusive video has now 57 million views.
I'm just really grateful po sa lahat po na nag-share po ng video ko, sa lahat na nakihugot in behalf of all the artists and all the performers. Thank you so much once again, Wish, for letting us perform.
Winning big as well was Morissette's chosen beneficiary, Meritcell Children's World Foundation, a non-government organization that provides care for abandoned and neglected children.
For the past 10 years, we've been able to provide for the children in need mainly through donations from individuals and corporations. So ang laking-laking tulong sa amin, yung donation through Miss Morissette and through the help of Wish Awards.
The prize from the Wish Music Awards was able to help sustain the needs of the children. That's why the foundation was really grateful to Wish FM.
I'd really like to thank Wish for FM for coming up with a different way of handling an awards. Most people would probably have just given the award to the best musical talent. In your case, you have actually looked out of the box. You've looked around, you've seen the need, and made a wish come true for many Filipinos who are actually in need.
On Monday, all roads will lead to the Big Dome for the third Wish Music Awards. Let me excite you more as I detail who and what are we expecting in the event in my next report. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The special episode of UNTV's reality diving show, The Dive, will help tourists plan their tour to Hong Kong. Here's why from Brian Evangelista.
Ocean Park Hong Kong is a 91.5-hectare marine mammal park, oceanarium, animal theme park, and amusement park situated in Wong Chung Hang and Nam Long Chan in the southern district of Hong Kong. To reach the opposite side of the park, you may choose to ride a cable car or simply ride the train or the Ocean Express. In the special episode of The Dive tomorrow afternoon, we will feature the advocacy of this 40-year-old theme park. It raises awareness on the protection of animals and marine life.
I think what we all want to look at is how do we, as divers, find ways to contribute to conservation, not just take pictures, not just take, our pleasure and leave, but how do we actually make it a little bit better ocean?
To make a change.
And make a change. So the change starts with us.
Tourists will also enjoy opportunity to hug gentle and very playful seals.
Wow! Not bad, you can feel that. I love you, Lisa. I'm already in love with you. Wow, sexy. Wow.
In our 30 Minutes episode, we will tour you inside the ocean park, where we can witness a variety of unique animal species and be amazed by the giant aquarium that contains various species of big and small fish. Watch the special episode of the first and only reality diving show in the country, The Dive, on Saturday at 5:30 in the afternoon. After the program, Historia. Brian Evangelista, UNTV News and Rescue, Hong Kong.
It's the wonder of God's creation that makes us believe. So The Dive.
And those are the reasons behind the news, January 12, 2018. I am William Theo.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I'm Angelo Castro III.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Why
News.